Okay, everybody, I think we can get started. So welcome everybody to Thriving Over Surviving in Higher Education, which is one of our workshops for today's conference. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. It is great to be in space with all of you. And I hope that from today's workshop, y'all can learn something, anything really. That is certainly my goal. And I'm really excited to get started. And we'll get started with introductions. So if I can have the next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so just a quick round of introductions. Hi, everybody. My name is Maria Martinez, but I also go by Maggie. You can feel free to call me either Maggie or Maria. It's fine. My pronouns are she, her. A little bit about me. I am currently going into my fourth and final year of my undergraduate career at UC Davis, where I'm studying English in community and regional development, and a little bit about my work with Little Manila Rising. For the first half of this year, I worked as a immigrant. I worked with Little Manila as a immigrants' rights and protection youth advocate, which gave me the opportunity to be here with all of you today. So I'm really, really grateful for that opportunity. And I'll pass it off to David, who will be supporting me through most of this workshop. And I'll pass it off to him so he can introduce himself. And he will also be leading us into our check-in questions. So take it away, David.
Thank you, Maggie. Hey everyone, my name is David Wang. I'm an EJ Youth Advocate here at Little Manila, and I'll be also kind of co-hosting the workshop presentation, Thriving Over Surviving in Higher Education. And so I'm currently a high school senior, and so I'll kind of be sharing a little bit about my experience, especially with college application process and stuff like that. And I'll also be helping with facilitating all of the check-in questions and anything like that. I'll pass it back over to you, Maggie.
Thank you, David. I certainly appreciate your support for this presentation. And if I can have the next slide, please. Okay, so for a check-in question, I'll also pass it back to David so he can get us started with our check-in questions for today.
Thanks. All right, so for our first check-in question, what was your favorite thing you did over the summer? You can either type it in chat, or I think we have maybe a few seconds for if any of you guys want to unmute. If you guys can raise your hand, that'd be great. If not, if you don't feel comfortable, you can always type it in chat and we'll read some aloud. See a lot of spending time with family, friends and family, visiting many places. Go ahead.
Yeah, my summer, and thank you for asking, by the way, David. It was, I want to say, lax, a little bit of, or maybe not so lax, it was work, but on my off time, I would enjoy some video games, as well as spend time with my loved ones, but yeah.
That's nice. Thank you so much for sharing. I'll pass it back to Maggie for our next slide.
So thank you everybody for sharing in the chat. I see that there's a lot of Keenses, which I always like. I always like going to Keenses, and I see a lot of family, spending time with family. So thank you so much for sharing with us and being able to interact with us. I certainly appreciate it. And for this slide, I just want to give a little bit overview of the workshop structure that we'll go over today. So the topics that we'll be covering about higher education today will be academics, finances, professional and growth opportunities, campus resources, personal and personal well-being. And these are only 5, but that doesn't mean that there's not any more parts to college life. College life is very, very complex. But these, for the sake of time and for the sake of this presentation, these are the 5 topics that we will be covering. Thank you. And for our first portion is academics. So a big portion of going into college, and possibly like one of the first things that you have to do before you go into college and start your college career, is ask yourself what type of college you want to attend in choosing a college. So the first question that you can ask yourself is, what type of college do I want to attend? For example, do I want to attend a 2-year college or a 4-year college? So a 2-year college being a community college, which allows you to gain your associate's degree, or a 4-year college, which allows you to acquire your bachelor's degree. So a community college would be like Delta College here in Stockton, and a 4-year college would be like a university and college like Sac State or UOP. So those are the kind of questions that you want to ask yourself. What type of college do I want to go to? But other key components to consider when you're thinking about what college you want to go to, it might be the major and the classes that a college offers. So for example, say you're interested in marine biology, and then there's a college that you're interested in. I would recommend to go to the college's website. Always go to the college's website and check out their majors, because maybe you might be interested in marine biology, but a certain college might not offer that major. So it might not be the best suited for you. So always check to see if the college caters to your interests. Also, another thing to think about is the cost. I mean, personally, when I was starting like my college journey, I was pretty like worried about the the cost of college. So it's always a good thing to consider. Maybe you want to go for a college that it's in state, that might be cheaper than a college that is out of state, which will cause you to pay out of state tuitions, and that might be a little bit more expensive. Also think about the location. You will be spending the next 2 to 4 years of your life in this place. So think about, you want to live somewhere that you like. So do you like the city, or do you like a small town feel? That's something to think about. And think about what the college offers you. So what are the college amenities? Maybe a college has a gym or a swimming pool, or maybe they have like a concert venue, or like a bowling alley. So it's always good to think about what the college is offering you, right? So think about those things. And if I can have the next slide, please. So another big thing about academics is choosing your major. And for this, I think the first thing that you would have to think is, what are your interests and passions, right? And after that, again, I would recommend to check out the college website and see if, again, the college caters to your interest and your passions. But also think about, say you're interested in a certain major, right? You can also think about what possible careers that major will give you. So you can search up job titles for that certain major, and you could also consider the type of salary that you'll have within these possible careers. So if you're thinking long term or short term, but also know that your degree is a stepping stone for like the rest of your life. You won't be stuck with that degree or that job for the rest of your life. You can always change. Also, another important part about choosing your major is is to look at the major requirements. So for example, think about the number of units that a major might be asking of you. So for example, I'm an English major, and my major only requires 60 units of credit. But there's other majors that might require you to have 120 units of credits. So that's like a big difference, right? So a smaller major might give you the flexibility to explore other options, while a bigger major with more units, it might be a little bit more tight. You might have to focus a lot of your energy on completing your major rather than exploring other classes. And also, I think always remember that you can explore. College is all about exploring and thinking about what you like and finding what you like. So don't be afraid to explore and take classes outside of your major. And always remember that you can always change your major. Just because you go into your first year as a certain major, you won't be stuck. You know, you can change your major 2 to 3 times. It's so flexible, and a lot of schools are super flexible with that. So don't feel stuck if you don't like something. Next slide, please. Okay. So another big parts of academics is tutoring and office hours. I would encourage everybody, while everybody's in college or during college, to visit your tutoring centers on campus. Maybe in high school, maybe you didn't feel like you needed tutoring or help, but college, is a completely different experience. So there might be times when you feel like you're not doing the best in certain classes, and you should know that it's always okay to ask for help. So take advantage of these resources on campus, because these people are there to help you and help you succeed in life. Also, it's good to have study groups. Sometimes I think that the best resources on campus are your peers, because they're going through the same things as you. And don't be afraid to reach out to people, because in college, everybody's trying to like succeed and everybody's trying to make friends. So always feel encouraged and free to reach out to people, because I'm pretty sure they would appreciate the help. Also, don't be afraid or intimidated to talk to your professors and your TAs. These are the people that know the most about the subject, and they might feel intimidating because they have like these big titles, but that's why they have office hours, because that's their job. And you know, they're making the time out of class and out of their responsibilities to talk to you, because they want to help you. So in talking to professors and TAs, it also opens the door to a lot of opportunities. Um, to a lot of opportunities. So for example, you might be able to get internships or hear about campus job, or you can network with your professors, and that could always help you like get letters of recommendation later on in the future. So don't be intimidated by these people. They're here to help you. And if I can have the next slide. So the other topic we will be covering is college finances. Like I said, I mean, personally, when I was going into college, I was very worried about, like, will I be able to afford college? And I think that's like a fair concern that a lot of people may have. But just note that there is financial aid to help you, and then there are resources to help you. So one of the main things, if you have the ability to do so, always do your FAFSA. And I know that FAFSA can seem pretty like complex and intimidating, because like when I first did my FAFSA for the first time, I was very lost. But always know that there are people in high school and even in college, that can help you fill out this FAFSA. Like personally, at UC Davis, they used to host FAFSA workshops where people would like help you with that. So, and FAFSA is like the biggest source where you get your financial aid. So it's always important to do your FAFSA. That's the main thing. Also, look for scholarships. I know that sometimes it may feel like there are not a lot of scholarships available, but what I find most helpful is to search up scholarships even on Google that cater to your identity and to your personal experience. So for example, in the past, I Googled like scholarships for students in the Central Valley or students in Northern California, or like scholarships for Asian Americans, Mexican Americans. You know, there's a lot of scholarships that are catered to your experience and to your life. And never be afraid to apply to a scholarship. because there might be people who think, there might be sometimes at times people don't apply to scholarships because they think they won't get it, but most of the time and sometimes you are able to get these scholarships. And also, you are able to, through your financial aid, sometimes you're able to have a work study, which is really, really helpful. And there's also, on campuses, there's also opportunities for campus jobs. And these campus jobs are pretty flexible from what I know, because they're put on by the campus, by the university. So these people know that you're a college student and that you have a lot of responsibilities. So they're generally pretty flexible with your schedule. Yeah, next slide, please. And for this slide, we have another quick check-in question with David, so I'll pass it off to him.
Thank you so much for the wonderful information, Maggie. I realized I haven't asked this before. Just a quick check-in. How many of you guys are still high school students? Could you raise your hand? Any more? Is that it? And are the rest of you guys college students or could you raise your hand? All right, perfect. So I think the next section will help both high school and college students. In the next section, another question. When do you guys think you should start looking for and applying to internships, especially in college? Or do you think it's any time? Or do you think it's specifically within your last 2 years or something like that? Any thoughts in the chat? Or I know especially a lot of you guys are already doing this. You guys are already doing this process. See a lot of good answers. I'll pass it back to Maggie to answer this question and to give you guys more information about internships and jobs, both in high school and in college.
Yeah, so thank you so much, David. And I do see in the chat that a lot of people are saying all the time and as soon as possible. And the answer is that it's not, oh yeah, it also depends on the individual's time management, but it's never too late or too early to start your internship and your career search. Internships are a great internships and jobs are a great way to build experience, explore professions, for academic, professional, and personal growth. And I think something to keep in mind is that when you do graduate college, when you're applying to jobs, a lot of people won't ask you what is your major or what grades did you get in certain classes. When you're applying to jobs and in interviews, people will ask you what are the experiences and the jobs and the internships that you have had that make you the best candidate for a position, right? So that's why I want to stress the importance of internships and jobs, because they're really a stepping stone to your success, not just in college, but like after you get out of college. So yeah, it's never too late and it's never too early to start looking for internships. And ways that you can search for internships on campus, a lot of campuses have what they're called career centers. And here, there are people dedicated to help you build your resume, your LinkedIn, and there's also search engines where you can search for internships and jobs that are catered to your interests and that can help you grow as an individual and professional and professionally. So it's never too late and it's never too early. Yeah, thank you. Next slide, please. Clubs and volunteering. This is another way to get to also grow your experience, both academic, professional, and personal. Clubs and volunteering, it allows you to explore your interests, but through here you can also gain professional skills. Because you can be part of like board positions. You can be like a board member. You could be the vice president. You could be the treasurer. You could be the president itself. And this really helps you develop as a person and professionally. And clubs and volunteering are also a great way to network with people, maybe people in your major, people who have the same interest as you, or just to build community. and to help you grow as a person. So, and there's always specialized clubs that are catered to your own interests. So maybe you're like, you want to go into law and want to be a lawyer. I assure you that there will be and that there are clubs catered to like people who want to go into law profession. So it's always great to be involved in clubs and like volunteerings and things on campus, but also even in your community. Like here, like I had the opportunity to be a youth advocate for Little Manila, even if it wasn't on my college campus. So you can find these opportunities on campus, but also maybe in your hometown, in your community. Next slide, please. Something else that I really want to stress that is very important, that I find important, that people should take advantage of, are campus centers. There are universities and colleges tend to have centers that are catered to people's personal life and experiences and identities. And these centers are really created to help you succeed and make the most of your college education. So for example, there might be centers catered to the LGBTQIA community or first gen college students, or like a center that's maybe dedicated to like women. So these centers really help you. They give you resources, and sometimes they'll hold workshops or giveaways, but in general, they're there to support you. So always take advantage of these centers. And also take advantage of the library. I feel like a lot of people um, disregard how many resources one can find in a library, from textbooks to free printing to help with your your research papers. There's so many resources that you can find at the library. As well as take advantage of the recreation aspect of colleges. So for example, there might be a gym. Personally, at UC Davis, the gym is free. So as long as you're a student, you can go in. And think about it. These services are free. So, and you are possibly paying to go to college. So you make sure that you take advantage of like everything that the university gives you, because college is more than just the academics. It's about taking advantage of everything that's offered. And sometimes there might be ways, there might also be like craft centers, things where you can build community and also like explore your interests. Like personally, I like to make jewelry, and there's a craft center in Davis that caters to my interest. So so always yeah, just take advantage of these centers that are on campus. There's also food resources, other resources on campus, like food resources. A little bit more to bring in from like my own personal experience. There's this thing called the pantry at UC Davis, which is basically a center where people can get free food, no questions asked, like pretty much every day of the week. And here maybe like you don't want to eat at the dining commons, or maybe like the dining commons doesn't cater to like your specific diet. There's a lot of like, there might be resources on campus where you might be able to get free food, or they could also help you apply to CalFresh, which is a government program, an EBT government program that gives you money for groceries and food, which I encourage everybody to apply to CalFresh if you are eligible. And regardless if you're not in the eligibility requirements, there's always a way that I'm pretty sure that a lot of people at least get a small amount of money to go towards groceries. Okay, next slide, please. And another big part of college that I personally think it's very important is your personal well-being. I think that when we're in college, when we're in school, even in high school, school can get pretty overwhelming. because you have school and you have your personal life and you have other responsibilities. You might have a job, you might have to take care of a sibling or a parent, but it's always important to place yourself first, because to live for yourself, to live for others, and to take care of others, you must first take care of yourself. I think that's a motto that has really helped me throughout my college experience, because I mean, I really want to help people around me, but I also have to take care of myself to help others. Also, be self aware of your needs. There might be times when you need a break, or you're overwhelmed, or you're stressed. Be self aware and recognize that. You know, you need, you have needs, and you need to take care of yourself. And I think I also, something I want to say is that when you're in college, don't be afraid to ask for, what are they called, extensions. Never be afraid to ask for extensions to professors or TAs, because what I've learned so far is that professors are pretty lenient in college, and they know that you're a college student and that you have a lot going on. So most of the time, professors are always there to help you, and they're always helpful and willing to give you extensions and flexibility if you ask right and like in a nice way. So don't be afraid to prioritize yourself. um I feel like most of the time, as like people of color, first gen students, low income students, I mean, personally, being like, I'm a first gen college student, a lot of the times, like, experience imposter syndrome, which is something that everybody can experience. So just remind yourself that you are in the place that you are, you will be in the place that you will be because you worked for yourself, and you did everything you could. So wherever you end up, in the good place, in the good campus that you end up, is because you deserve to be there, right? Wherever your success is your own. So just acknowledge your efforts and your success. But it can be pretty hard. Imposter syndrome is, it can take a toll on you, but also, something else, a lot of campus centers or campuses, colleges, most of the time have counseling services. And a lot of the times they can be free. And there's also academic advisors and peer advisors that are there. So yeah, just note that a lot of campuses have counseling services and peer advisors and academic advisors that can help you through whatever personal hardship that you might be going through, as well as imposter syndrome. And when you're in college, there might be the possibility that you may get homesick because you're in an unfamiliar environment. And there's also that newly added factor of stress. So another reminder to always take care of yourself and prioritize yourself and seek help when you need it. There's nothing wrong with prioritizing yourself. So next slide, please. And just a little bit, I did do some outreach to some college students that I know, in case they wanted to share any words of advice or encouragement that they might have that can help or assist people here in any way. And this is kind of what I got from people. And a tip or an advice that somebody said to give y'all is to learn how to manage your time, to write down important dates, and also to make sure to make time for yourself. And one of the ways that you can do this, a tool that is really helpful, is to have some type of planner, whether it's a physical planner or maybe it's a Google Calendar. It's always very important to just, keep track of what is going on in your life, so you have the ability to make time for yourself. Also, somebody else suggested to take interesting classes because they will help you balance out everything you have to endure for your major. So sometimes certain majors can be pretty rough or can be pretty heavy. So that's why I think it's important to take classes outside of your major, because these classes might be like a breath of fresh air that doesn't have to do with, like, maybe you're like a math major. Maybe you could take an art class to take like a breather of all that. You know, if you're stressed by your homework or by your exams, it's always good to have a class that helps you breathe and explore other things. And I guess something like a piece of advice that I would give is to enjoy your college years. I know that it's all about, sometimes we think it's all about academics or doing as many internships or getting as many jobs or experiences as we can, or like getting all A's and B's. But I think it's also important to recognize that college is a very, very special time in your life, and it's a time in your life that you won't probably get to live again. So just remember to be to enjoy your youth and enjoy your college experience, because it's so much more than academics and internships. You know, it's about meeting people, making friends, having fun. So always just enjoy your time as a college student. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry. And I'll pass it off to David so we can do our last check-in question for the remainder of this workshop, and I'll pass it off to him.
Thank you so much again, Maggie. I know as a high school senior myself, all of the information you just presented is really informational, and I'm really glad to be able to have this information. And so before I ask you guys the question, I just wanted to kind of share a little bit about my own experiences, especially a lot of the things I could really relate to in Maggie's presentation. And to be able to have this as a resource is really interesting for when I do go to college, especially. And so as a senior, and for all of you guys, high school students out there, I just wanted to also let you guys know that you can make it. You can make it wherever you want to go. And then just make sure that you follow all of these steps. And if you ever need anything, you're always available to contact Maggie here. Or if you want to contact me for anything related to college applications or anything like that. I just wanted to say, if you're currently applying, make sure you remember all the deadlines. And aside from that, I wanted to head back into our last final question. Is there something you would like to do or accomplish in college? Remember, 4 years, really big portion of your life. You can answer in the chat, or if you would like to unmute. I think we have about 4 more minutes. Brianna, go ahead.
Thank you. First, I just want to say thank you so much, Maggie, for this presentation, and also David and Alexis, just everybody for pushing this information out. I just finished college, but I'm thinking about going back to school to get my nursing degree. And I think something that I would like to accomplish while I do that whole process again would be to really do like internships that are meaningful and fun, and like really like just enhance like my experience overall. So that's something I didn't do before, and I'm really thankful, Maggie, for you sharing that piece of information. And I'm gonna do that this second go around.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, totally. I also saw another thing in the chat, which was taking more risks. I thought that was really cool. And I think with the last few minutes, do you guys have any questions for maybe a really quick Q&A for Maggie? Anything you would like to ask? Or if not, you always have access to a contact. Oh yeah, go ahead, Perry.
Yeah, okay, so for my question, either of you could like answer. With the internship, how did you guys like balance having the internship and making time for it while you're like trying to, you know, one, grow up, figure yourself out, and also just integrating it into like your daily life? because I think it's really hard for like people to, you know, have that on their plate, and also just having their bad days when they have to commit to something. So I'd really like to know how you guys like experienced doing that.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question. I think that's a very, very valid question. I mean, personally, I've had experiences where I felt like I wasn't doing enough. So, like, I pushed myself to do way too much in a certain amount of time. And, like you said, sometimes I would like overwhelm myself, and it was hard to like balance certain things. So, something I would say is to say that to find an internship or a job that you really passionate about or that you really like. I think that balances out sometimes feeling a little bit down or stressed sometimes because you know that you're doing that something that you like and that is helping you grow. But time management can be pretty rough, and it can also be pretty rough to balance academics and life and the internship. So sometimes what I did is I took like the minimum amount of units in college. So for you have to get you for like UC Davis, you need to take 12 units to get financial aid. And I know people that sometimes would take 16 or 18 or 20 units. But when I looked for an internship and I got it, I made sure that I at least had like the minimum amount to get that financial aid, which would give me the time to pursue and dedicate a little bit of more time to that internship. But I think feeling down sometimes, what you're doing, and if you like it, it can override that in my personal experience. And we only have 60 seconds left, so I just want to say thank you everybody for joining this workshop. Um, I really appreciate that all of you are here today, and I really hope that this presentation helped you at least in a small way and that you got something from it. And I'm really grateful to be here with all of you, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And also, if I could have the last slide, because it has my contact information. Um, so feel free to email me if you have any questions.